Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome to our coffee times. Today, and catching up with 2020 horror movie releases, we're here to discuss Relic.
It's coffee time.
Lucky enough, I was able to go to the cinema to check out this movie, and I am so glad that I did. I didn't know way too much when I went into it, and this is going to be a spoiler-free movie review, but I am going to discuss the main topic of the film. Some people might consider that a spoiler, but actually I found it everywhere online as part of the synopsis, so I don't consider myself a big spoiler. So you have been warned, and I hope that you stick around though, because this movie is so interesting and it's nothing like I expected, and I can see why some people might be put off by this film, but I'm here to recommend you to give it a chance. So please stick around, and if you do love horror and movies, consider subscribing to the channel and also click on the notification bell so you don't miss any more coffee times. Relic is a horror film directed by Natalie Erica James in her directorial debut, from a screenplay by James and Christian White. It stars Emily Mortimer, Robin Nevin, and Bella Heathcote. The movie is describing the story of a family. To be more specific, we are following 3 generations of women in the same family. So the grandma, called Edna, she goes missing, and so her daughter and her granddaughter go to her house to try to figure out what happened to her. Why did she go missing? Why didn't she, say anybody where she was going? Did something happen to her outside? She does live secluded, kind of in the middle of the woods, and maybe she went out, something happened to her, they don't know. So they decide to go and check it out. One day, mysteriously, the grandma reappears in the house, and the family starts to realize that there is something wrong with her. Something is haunting the house, something is happening, and this film was so different. I know a lot of people have compared this movie to The Babadook, and I totally see why you would do that. This movie is, if you go into it, please note this is not your typical ghost story. This is not a slasher. This is not a demonic possession story. It is an exploration of horror when it comes to like real horror. It is about losing yourself, your personality, your being, and not being able to stop it. It is about the darkness that surrounds this family, these 3 generations of women, and how their lives are going to be affected by what is happening to the grandma. This film decides to take what other movies have done in the recent years, which I think is super smart, which is to take something horrific from real life, like it's an illness. In this case, they are tackling the topic of dementia and turning it into a dark exploration of the human psyche. When you start the movie, you think that you are being set up for a typical either ghost story or kind of like a demon story, when you see this woman going into this isolated house in the woods with weird things happening, and what you find yourself is in this ride to understanding humanity and loss. And when you see something slipping away and you're unable to stop it, like losing your own identity. The movie does a good job at being creepy and atmospheric, and at the beginning you are really unsure of what's happening, and everything starts to make sense towards the second act. And also that's when most of the disturbing images come to play, and the whole movie is fairly dark. The whole atmosphere is really dark. I think this movie starts kind of a little bit slow paced, but it catches up pretty quickly in the second half. But like I said, it's not a movie for everybody, because this is not your typical horror movie. Part of the reason why this movie was compared to The Babadook is because in both movies we have women that, due to some mental illness, they are you know, getting affected, their physical form, their physical life, it's being affected by this mental illness that they have. And I think both movies did such a great job when it came to the exploration of, you know, our psyche and the things that happen to us also physically when something is wrong mentally. Like, you know, people with depression, people with dementia, like, we always think that it's something that happens in our mind, but it also has a lot of you know, effects on our own physical body. This concept is something that people do not really expect to see in horror movies, and when the movie ended at the theater, I had the feeling that everybody was so disappointed in that room, because they went there expecting your typical ABC horror with jump scares, and that's not what they got. I also feel like a lot of people did not understand the point of the movie and they left very confused. Now granted, at the very beginning of the film, on the first act, things are a little bit confusing. You still don't know where the movie is gonna go. There's a lot of questions open in your mind, but everything starts to wrap up, and this movie is only 90 minutes, and the amount of imaginary and character exploration in those 90 minutes is amazing. They did such a great job, and this is not a plot driven film because the movie basically just takes place in this house. What it is an exploration of character and how this illness is going to affect not just the grandmother but also the daughter and the granddaughter. The film also uses a lot of metaphors for things, so I think that's another thing that happened that got people really confused. The film is not kind of handing you the information so easy, you know, they are not kind of giving you everything spoon-fed, and so people had to really start connecting the dots. And I know that a lot of people nowadays just want to watch movies to disconnect and they are not ready to think a little bit. So this is definitely not a movie for somebody that just wants to get scared, because that is not what it is. The movie, like I said, it's very dark, but not only on the visuals, it also deals with a very dark topic, and it feels at points very claustrophobic because we are trapped in this house and there's things that happen in the second act that make you feel really like trapped and claustrophobic, and it's kind of letting you know how this is going to affect the daughter and the granddaughter, and that is part of the bigger ending that we're going to get. The movie did have a couple of surprising moments. It had like awesome disturbing parts. It was creepy at times as well, even though it was not giving you jump scares or anything that you would expect from a regular horror movie, and everything built up to an ending that I thought was fantastic in my opinion, and I think a lot of people did not understand, because I don't think everybody was aware of the topic of dementia being, you know, what was portrayed in this film, and they were not able to kind of put two and two together. It was very bold to make such a film, and also not knowing what the viewers were going to do with it, how they were going to react. I think it was done with a lot of respect towards people that are suffering from dementia as an illness, and I think that it was handled so well. I really did love the exploration of these illness and what it does. I thought the ending was genius. Like I said, I really loved it, and I think it wrapped up everything so well. This is a film that I think if I would rewatch it again, I would see things from the beginning that are hinting to what's going to happen later that I missed on the first time around. But everything just made so much sense at the end. Everything just clicked for me, and it was so rewarding to having such a good ending, because you guys know that endings are not always something that works in horror movies, specifically also kind of more deep, well thought horror movies. Sometimes the ending is not exactly what we were expecting, but I think this one just landed so well. So in general, what we get in this film, it's an exploration of a family. We see 3 generations of women from the same family going through a lot of emotional stuff and darkness, and it kind of also touches a little bit the topic of, you know, how quickly we give up on our elderly and we just put them in homes because we don't take the time to understand what's happening to them sometimes. And I really love that as well from the film. Let's not forget, this is a director's debut and it was so amazing. I can really not wait to see what else the director has for us. I ended up giving this movie 4 out of 5 stars. I know it is a high rating and it's probably not a movie for everybody. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I just thought that it was so wonderfully depicted, this generation of 3 women, their struggles, their emotional baggage. The acting was great, the atmosphere, the creepiness, everything was just on point, and the wonderful ending kind of wrapped it up for me. That was the cherry on top for me, so I had to give it 4 out of 5. Alright you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this movie review. If you already watched the movie, let me know down below. It's been out for a while, but I have just been able to go watch it, so I hope that you still enjoyed my review. Let me know down below what is one of the best horror movies that you have watched in the last month. Let me know in the comments, let's talk about it. And also, before you leave, please make sure to give the video a big thumbs up for support. And if you want to follow me in other social media, the links as always are down below. And I hope to see you all in the next copy time. Bye!